In a small village by the sea, where the streets were narrow and the houses leaned gently against one another like old friends, there lived a woman named Elara. She was elderly now, her hair silver, her steps slow, her hands soft and lined with years. She lived alone in a small cottage at the edge of the village, where the stone path turned to dirt and the sound of the waves could be heard at night. And every evening, without fail, Elara would light a single candle and place it in her front window. The flame was small but steady. It glowed warmly against the glass, casting a soft light into the darkness outside. The villagers had seen it for as long as anyone could remember. Some thought it was a tradition, others believed it was superstition, something to keep bad spirits away perhaps, or to bring good fortune. A few whispered that she was eccentric. The old woman with the candle, they would say, shaking their heads with a mixture of pity and curiosity, but no one ever asked her why. Years passed. Children grew into adults. Adults grew old. The village changed slowly, as villages do. But Elara's candle remained. Every night, as the sky turned from blue to indigo to black, the small light appeared in her window, a quiet, persistent glow, and every morning it was gone. One autumn evening, a young girl named Clara was walking home from her grandmother's house. The air was cool and the wind carried the scent of salt and wood smoke. As she passed Elara's cottage, she saw the light in the window, glowing softly as always. But this time, something made her stop. She had passed this window 100 times before. She had seen the candle burning. But tonight, for the first time, she wondered, why? Before she could think too much about it, her feet carried her to the door. She knocked gently. A moment later, the door opened. Elara stood there, wrapped in a soft shawl, her kind eyes blinking with mild surprise. "Hello, child," she said warmly. "Is everything all right?" Clara hesitated. "I'm sorry to bother you, ma'am. I've always wondered, why do you keep a candle in your window every night?" Elara's expression softened. For a moment she said nothing. Then she smiled, a quiet, distant smile, and stepped aside. "Come in," she said gently. "I'll tell you." Inside, the cottage was warm and simple. A fire crackled softly in the hearth. The air smelled of tea and old books. Elara poured 2 cups of tea and sat down slowly in her chair by the window. Clara sat across from her, holding her cup carefully. For a long moment, Elara gazed out at the candlelight flickering in the glass. Then she began to speak. "Many years ago," she said softly, "I was married to a man named Thomas. He was a fisherman, strong, kind, and full of life. We were young, and we believed we had all the time in the world." She paused, her fingers tracing the rim of her teacup. One winter, a terrible storm came. Thomas and the other fishermen had gone out to sea that morning, hoping to bring back one last catch before the season ended. But the storm came faster than anyone expected. Clara's breath caught. The boats didn't return that night, or the next. Search parties went out, but the sea had swallowed everything. Elara's voice was steady, but her eyes glistened. "Thomas never came home." Clara's heart ached. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. Elara nodded gently. "Thank you, child. It was a long time ago." But the night he left, before he walked out the door, he kissed my forehead and said something I've never forgotten. She looked at Clara now, her gaze clear and full of quiet strength. He said, "If I ever lose my way, I'll look for your light. Keep it burning, Elara. I'll find my way back to you." Clara felt tears prick her eyes. "So I did," Elara said simply. "That very night, I lit a candle and placed it in the window, and I have done so every night since." "But," Clara's voice trembled, "he never came back." "No," Elara said softly. "He didn't. She smiled then, a smile that was sad but not broken. But I kept my promise, and over the years I realized something. That candle wasn't just for Thomas. It became something more. She gestured toward the window. Travelers passing through the village at night have told me they saw the light and knew they were close to safety. A young man once knocked on my door, lost and afraid, and said the light guided him home. A mother told me her daughter walking alone one evening felt less afraid because she could see it glowing in the distance. Elara's voice grew quieter but warmer. The light I kept for one person became a light for many, and I understood. Love doesn't disappear when someone is gone. It transforms. It becomes something that helps others find their way. Clara sat in silence, her heart full. She looked at the candle flickering gently in the window. So small, so simple, and yet so powerful. "Thank you for telling me," Clara whispered. Elara reached over and placed her warm hand over Clara's. "Thank you for asking, child. Some stories wait a long time to be heard." That night, as Clara walked home under the stars, she turned back once to look at Elara's cottage. The light was still there, glowing softly in the window. And for the first time, Clara understood. It wasn't just a candle. It was hope. It was memory. It was love that refused to fade. It was a promise kept, not out of duty, but out of devotion. And it reminded her of something she would carry for the rest of her life. Even the smallest light kept burning faithfully can guide others through the darkness. Even quiet acts of love, done without recognition, can change the world, one heart at a time. The lesson: we may never know whose life we touch with our small faithful acts. A kind word, a steady presence, a light left burning. These things may seem small, but to someone lost in the dark, they are everything. Keep your light burning. Someone, somewhere, may need it more than you know.